good afternoon to you. This is Open Studio, Cape Town TV channel 263. I'm your host, Thabang. Welcome again to today's segment. So for those of you viewers at home who are not aware about Open Studio, it's the longest running program right here at Cape Town TV. It's actually a platform that's open to the general public, welcoming corporates and NGOs, as well as any individual who's busy doing something contributory to the community at large, anything from programs to projects and initiatives. And if you'd like to be our guest onto the show, kindly drop us an email at janate@capetowntv.org and we will sure get back to you. On today's show, we have Mr. James Boulton, who is actually a marketing manager at Metropolitan Holdings. He's here today to speak to us a little bit more about that which Metropolitan does, what he does, and the services that they actually offer. Mr. James Boulton, thank you so much for making yourself available today and welcome to Open Studio.
Good afternoon, Thabang. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much. I'm going to quickly just discuss. I know that you are a marketing manager there, and it's quite an extensive role that you are playing, and especially in the times that we live in. Just as a quick background, what is it that you actually do?
So, Thabang, you're absolutely right. I am a marketing manager at Metropolitan, and Metropolitan is a financial services provider, and we offer the full suite of products from personal insurance, so life insurance, funeral cover, retirement investments and savings, and we have a very, very large footprint across all of South Africa. So we've got an advisor force that can help you with whatever your financial goals might be.
Wonderful. And just, I understand that marketing is very vigorous. It's very demanding as well. Just for our viewers out there, how long have you been with Metropolitan? And what is the most challenging part about your job, would you say?
So I've been with Metropolitan for about 18 months. And I think the most challenging part about my job was actually just starting, to be honest. And by that, I mean, when I joined the company, it was just before sort of COVID really, I think, became as prevalent as it is today in our lives. It was kind of early December, and the first cases in Wuhan were kind of making news, and so it meant joining a team and starting a new job and getting to know people sort of virtually, which was something which was completely new to me. So. That's probably been the biggest challenge is adaptation to this new way of work and getting to know people and learning the intricacies of what makes Metropolitan the fabulous brand that it is today.
It is indeed a fabulous brand, one that's been around for the longest time as far as I could remember. And how do you actually strike a balance, a healthy one, between your work and your social life?
So sure, it's a really good question. I think it was something that I certainly battled with when lockdown and sort of not knowing how to just kind of behave normally and routines being upset happened when COVID really began. And achieving balance for me is really if there's one thing that I think has helped, it has been routine. So initially it got knocked a little bit, but trying to get back into a routine of sorts. So waking up at the same time, if you exercise in the morning, doing that, eating breakfast, setting out clear blockers in your diary for when you actually have time to focus, because I think that's also been really challenging is sitting in front of a screen all day means you're almost contactable 24/7. So actually blocking out time in your diary, I think is critical. And then before and after the sort of a typical working day, I think it's incredibly important to try and disconnect from a screen and do something which is which is going to help your mental and physical well-being. So be it exercise or reading or walking a dog, whatever it is that that gives you I think a sense of being connected to the world beyond just being connected to a screen.
That's right. It's so important. I think you've mentioned incredible aspects about just keeping it healthy and well balanced. And for you, I'm sure you journeyed with other companies before you got to Metropolitan. Who would you say throughout your journey has actually influenced and shaped you into the person that you are today, and why?
So that's a really interesting question, because we've literally just launched a campaign which the central idea of the campaign is how the people around you have an extremely important and profound influence on on what you're able to achieve, and the reason you've been able to get to where you have been has been because of the people around you. And it's almost with this campaign, we're trying to inspire people to reflect, recognize, and give thanks to the people that have made significant contributions. So it's called My People, My Everything. And in my own life, in terms of work, I began in an advertising agency. And so the perspective I gained there was, I suppose, more creative, in the sense that it was about how do sort of as a creative partner, how do you partner with a client to bring strategies and kind of solve business problems with creativity and with design and with words and relating to consumers. And that really became I think or provided a great foundation to me eventually stepping across into being in a corporate like Metropolitan, and applying what I learned in an advertising agency, working in and on different clients from financial services, obviously, but then also FMCG and liquor and alcohol, and then also the automotive industry. So that broad exposure to different industries, different consumers, different insights, I think stood me in good stead to grow into the role that I now find myself in.
Yes, wonderful stuff. Very multifaceted, I would say, and with exposure to match. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. We're just going to go for a quick break. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, you're watching Open Studio. This is Cape Town TV channel 263. Today on the program, I've got Mr. James Boulton, who is the marketing manager of the Metropolitan Holdings right here in South Africa. And he's just taken through his personal journey and, of course, the services and the products that Metropolitan actually offers, which we'll touch on a little bit later on throughout the interview. But for now, Mr. Boulton, you mentioned quite an exciting campaign just before we went on to the break, which is hashtag My People, My Everything campaign. Won't you just unpack that for us, a little bit?
Sure, Thabang. So I'm going to start with a phrase I think that kind of unearths where we came up with the idea for My People, My Everything. And that phrase is no man is an island. And I think why it's so beautiful is it really describes just how badly people kind of do when they are isolated from others. Human beings aren't built to be separated from their communities. We really thrive when we are in collectives, and I think it's safe to say that we are shaped and influenced by the people that we have around us, from our parents to our teachers, our siblings, our friends, our colleagues, bosses. Everyone around us, has an influence. So Metropolitan launched the My People, My Everything campaign to highlight the power of this collective, and to then demonstrate how together, when we tap into the people around us, life becomes so much better. And through the campaign, we're hoping to inspire consumers to reflect, recognize, and give gratitude or thanks to the people that have made significant contributions or influences on their lives. And as our tagline at Metropolitan says, together we can. And that's something that we want to bring to life.
I feel like that is so powerful, especially in the times that we live in. And I mean, you just used the popular phrase, no man is an island, which really tallies in with the spirit of Ubuntu, which I think Metropolitan indefinitely is trying to drive across to the community of South Africa at large. And how long has this campaign been running, Mr. Boulton? And what is it that Metropolitan is hoping to achieve through that?
So it's still relatively new. We went live with a television ad roughly 3 weeks ago, and the TV ad tells a beautiful story of a lady whose her dream was to start a business. And if it wasn't for the people that had influenced her and helped her along the way, she never would have been able to realize her ambition of being a business owner one day. And the way that we tell the story is through Umosabetsi, and it shows this lady giving thanks to all of the people that have influenced her life and helped her get there. And it's in this moment that she's got all these influential people around her that, one really sees, the magic of tapping into each other, and the power of the collective at work.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we're hoping to then achieve, sort of with the demonstration of the story, is we want people to share who in their lives have influenced them, and we're encouraging people to do that on our social media platforms. And the next phase of the campaign goes live quite shortly, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and it involves a digi series where we'll have influential characters and personalities sharing their own personal stories of who have influenced their lives, and how other people, or how it's important to be intentional with who you surround yourself with, when it comes to achieving what's important to you.
I think that is so powerful. I mean, that really was going to drive the message straight home. And it's something that a lot of us can actually relate to. I mean, it's everyday lives that we do, you know. But again, you touched on a very critical point, speaking about corporate support and, you know, supporting one another as members of the general public. So I want to speak a little bit more about Metropolitan and the services that you actually offer and how people can actually then join a Metropolitan. Would you just unpack those services for us, please?
Definitely, Tabang. So, I think everyone, or to use an analogy, if you decided that you wanted to run a half marathon, typically people know that then it's worth surrounding yourself with people that can help you do that. So you might speak to people that are active. You might join a running club. You are going to read about how to train, how to recover, all sorts of things that are going to effectively set you up for success. And it's amazing how often finance is overlooked as one of those kind of key facets. If you think about the people that you surround yourself with, how many of those people are financial experts? And most people typically find that very few they've got financial experts within their circle of influence. Uh, and by that, I mean, you don't necessarily need someone who's an actuary or an accountant. You just need someone who, for example, if you're a business owner, who understands entrepreneurship and what it takes to start a business. How do you go about budgeting, saving, not the difference between good and bad debt. And I believe this is where Metropolitan comes in that our financial advisors are able to partner with their clients to understand what their financial life goals are, and they can offer the advice that is so often lacking in just thinking about your finances day to day. Because that's the other thing, is people typically only think about finances at kind of key milestones,
Right.
uh, you know, January as an example, whereas it's something that you can take a lot of anxiety and stress out of your life if it's something that becomes routine and you kind of check in regularly. It doesn't become this big thing that hangs over you the whole time. It's something that, like with running a marathon, you train kilometer after kilometer after kilometer. You don't just go and run a marathon having not done the training and the preparation. Finance is very, very similar.
100%. It's all about preparation and more preparation. So, in your opinion, what would you say makes Metropolitan unique, and what makes it stand out in relation to other insurance companies out there?
So it's for us, it's all about the relationship of the advisor and Metropolitan and the client. So it takes a very, very trust is earned, I guess. And it's important that if someone is going to trust you with something as important as finance, that you have a relationship with somebody. And so Metropolitan believes that it's through this relationship that we can help you achieve the financial life goals that matter to you. So through the brand, through the advisor, and then through our solutions. So we've got a full suite of solutions that no matter what is important to you, whether it's saving for a big milestone, or your child's education, or making sure that your family is secure if something were to happen to you, we've got full suite of solutions that allow somebody to feel secure, confident, and in charge of their finances, and like they are on the path to achieving the financial goals that matter to them.
100%. This is an insurance company that actually empowers its people. When we come back, we will continue the conversation. Please don't go away. This is Cape Town TV, channel 263. You are tuned in to Open Studio. Welcome back. Thank you so much that you could actually join us today. I'm your host, Thabang, and we are having such an interesting conversation today on the program with Mr. James Boulton, who is the marketing manager of Metropolitan, and he's here to just teach us a little bit more about the services and products of this powerful insurance company and how you can best, obviously join them and what you can actually stand to gain from being a part of the Metropolitan family. Mr. Boulton, I wanted to discuss with you quickly this interesting advert that was directed by Mr. Zwelethwa Radebe. How did that come about and how was it actually conceptualized?
So Thabang, I suppose it feels strange hearing his full name, but Zweli was instrumental in helping us achieve our vision of bringing the My People, My Everything campaign to life. So in terms of the way that the story unfolded, it began with a script from our advertising agency, which is Black River FC. And our creative director, Malusi, sort of had this idea that in order to demonstrate how important the influence of people around us is in shaping who we are and how we've achieved what we have, that the way to tell the story would be through using a celebratory kind of tone. And so Malusi landed on this idea of using Umosebetsi, which is a gathering to kind of which brings people together to celebrate something. And so he had this idea, and then we put the idea out to a number of different production companies and asked a few different film directors to provide a treatment on the script. And without a doubt, I couldn't be happier with the partnership we then had with Egg Films and Zweli and Black River FC, the agency, in bringing the story to life. Zweli really understood the depth and the kind of warm, welcoming, real emotion that we wanted to bring to life in this Mosebetsi. And when on set with Zweli, he really he had this ability to kind of I think bring a connection between two people, which are strangers at the end of the day. They're characters in a story, but to the viewer, it feels like these people have known each other for years, like they really are a family with friends and aunties and uncles and school teachers. And Zweli just really managed to capture this spirit, this you used the phrase earlier, this feeling of Ubuntu just so beautifully in our TV ad. And I really do hope that if in the future Metropolitan decides to make another TV commercial, that we can work with Zweli again in the future.
Wonderful. That is so lovely to hear, Mr. Boulton. I mean, seeing all the creativity and the innovative ways that have actually sprung out of late because of COVID is actually really inspiring. There is definitely a glimmer of hope, for days to come. And I just wanted to go back a little bit more about the topic of finances, because there is this misconception that I have to make like a lump sum of money, a heap of money before I can consider saving. And people will go around saying, I don't have enough, I can't even save because I'm overwhelmed, my expenses are a bit larger than my income. What are some of the impactful and effective methods of saving, or ways an individual probably listening on the other side of the screen can actually implement to start seeing that aspect of them being able to save a little something aside every month, considering especially the times that we live in? What would you say?
So Thabang, you're absolutely right in that people typically think, in the same way, to use the marathon analogy, they think that it's always too late and that you have to have a lump sum, and that's really not the case. compound interest is an amazing tool to take that everyone should take advantage of, and by that I mean it just means saving a little bit depending on what you can afford, and chipping away and starting to build up whatever towards whatever your savings goal is, be it education, like I said, or even a holiday. And I know that times are tight, and there isn't a lot of extra money going around. So I would say the optimal place to start would be to do a budget. It's never a bad thing to know how much money is coming in versus how much money is coming out. And then I think the hardest part is probably then sitting down honestly and looking yourself in the mirror and really kind of figuring out what are expenses that you have to pay. So things like if it's home repayments or rent and that kind of stuff versus stuff that is if I can call it luxury stuff, going out on the weekends, eating out, drinking. Those are the places that you then need to look at perhaps spending less so that you have more disposable income to then save. And it's often comes down to being honest with oneself in terms of what's essential versus what's not. And I think it's also not made easier by the fact that everything you kind of see on social media, I think kind of fuels this sort of rampant consumerism in terms of spending beyond people's means and going into debt and all the rest of it. But that's why I say it takes a lot of self-discipline and being honest with oneself in terms of what's essential versus what's not.
That is so powerful. So if I hear you correctly, Mr. Boulton, you're saying short-term sacrifices for long-term rewards, basically, just sacrifice where necessary so that at the end of the day, you have something to live off of. That is so profound. And just on that subject, seeing that Metropolitan is quite a very relatable insurance company that actually is for the people and wants to be of service to the people, how then can one get a hold of you?
So there's a number of ways. We've recently just relaunched our website. So it's got a brand new look and feel and interface. And so if you log onto our website, which is www.metropolitan.co.za, you can either submit a call me back straight through the website, and one of our advisors will call you back. You can also interface with the chatbot on the website, or we've got a WhatsApp number where you can have a WhatsApp conversation through the chatbot on your mobile. The alternative is if you prefer a face-to-face conversation, even though it's COVID, you're more than welcome to visit one of our branches. We follow all of the necessary COVID protocols, and you can speak to an advisor there. Alternatively, you can call our contact center directly if you want to speak to someone like immediately, and that number is also on our website. If you prefer email, that's also an option. So we literally have a multi-channel approach. So whatever is most convenient to you, we'll communicate with you on that preferred mechanism or platform.
100%. Well, that's all we have for you today, folks. Thank you so much that you could tune in. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our program. Mr. James Boulton, I just want to take this moment to thank you so much once again for availing yourself to actually come onto the show and share that knowledge that's going to be so helpful for many of our viewers that have actually been tuned in. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Thabang, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our story and our campaign with your viewers.
Thank you so much. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in as well. And until next time, this is myself, Thabang from Open Studio, Cape Town TV. May God bless you and see you soon.